In a town where image is currency and secrets are often the price of fame, coming out as gay once meant risking it all, your roles, your fans, even your future. But a few bold actors chose truth over fear, stepping into the spotlight not just as performers, but as pioneers. They didn't just come out, they broke barriers, shattered stereotypes, and helped shift the narrative for an entire industry. Today, we honor the Hollywood stars who had the courage to live openly, inspiring countless others to embrace who they are without apology. If stories like this move you, be sure to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment. Ricky Martin wasn't just the king of Latin pop, he was a force of nature. With his electrifying performances, passionate ballads, and magnetic charisma, Ricky didn't just enter the global stage, he lit it on fire. When Livin' La Vida Loca exploded in 1999, it wasn't just a hit song, it was a cultural earthquake that shook the music world to its core. Hits like She Bangs, Shake Your Bon Bon, and Nobody Wants to Be Lonely followed, securing his place as a pop icon who bridged continents, languages, and hearts. But behind the dazzling lights and roaring crowds was a deeper story, a quiet truth Ricky carried for years. In March 2010, after endless speculation and personal reflection, he made a bold and life-changing decision. He came out publicly as gay. "I am proud to say that I am a fortunate homosexual man. I am very blessed to be who I am," he wrote in a heartfelt message that sent shockwaves across the globe. For a superstar of his stature, beloved by millions across cultures and generations, this wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a seismic moment for visibility. At a time when being openly gay, especially in the Latin entertainment world, was still taboo, Ricky's courage shattered silence and stigma. His honesty inspired countless people, young, old, closeted, afraid, to finally live their truth. And he didn't stop there. Ricky became more than a symbol. He became an advocate. Through his activism and the Ricky Martin Foundation, he fights against human trafficking and supports vulnerable children, using his platform to protect and uplift. As a devoted father of 4, he's not just raising a family, he's raising the bar for what it means to lead with love. Ricky Martin's legacy goes far beyond music. It's about authenticity. It's about bravery. It's about using fame not for ego, but for impact. In a world that often demands silence, he chose to sing his truth, and in doing so, gave others the courage to sing theirs. Tab Hunter wasn't just another handsome face in 1950s Hollywood, he was the face. With piercing blue eyes, golden blonde hair, and a smile that lit up the screen, Hunter became the ultimate symbol of all-American charm. From Damn Yankees to Battle Cry and The Burning Hills, he embodied the clean-cut heartthrob every girl wanted and every guy admired. Magazines couldn't get enough of him, and audiences were swept away by the fantasy he brought to life. But behind that flawless facade was a secret that could have destroyed everything. At a time when Hollywood demanded perfection and punished anything that didn't fit its narrow mold, Tab Hunter was living a double life. He was gay in an era when being true to yourself could end your career in a heartbeat. So, he played the part, dating starlets for the cameras, smiling through interviews, and never letting the mask slip. Behind closed doors, though, he carried the weight of silence, navigating fame like a minefield, terrified that the truth might surface. It wasn't until 2005, at the age of 74, that Hunter finally took control of his story. In his groundbreaking memoir, Tab Hunter Confidential, The Making of a Movie Star, he came out publicly, not with scandal or shame, but with dignity and courage. His revelation was more than just a personal confession, it was a seismic shift in the industry. In a town built on illusions, Tab chose truth. And in doing so, he broke barriers for generations of LGBTQ+ artists who followed. No longer just a matinee idol, he became something far more powerful, a pioneer. When Tab Hunter passed away in 2018, he left behind more than a legacy of classic films. He left behind a message that authenticity is the boldest kind of beauty. In a world obsessed with image, Hunter proved that the most unforgettable stars are the ones who dare to be real. Halsey, born Ashley Nicolette Frangipane, isn't just a pop star. She's a force of nature. With hit after hit like Without Me, Bad at Love, and You Should Be Sad, She's carved out a space in modern music that's entirely her own, blending raw vulnerability with fearless genre-bending artistry. But beyond the bright lights and roaring crowds, Hollyy has become something even more powerful: a voice. A voice for the unheard. A voice for the LGBTQ+ community. A voice for truth. In 2018, standing before a crowd at the GLAAD Media Awards, Hollyy didn't just speak, she poured her heart out. As a bisexual woman, she opened up about the quiet battles so many face: the lack of representation, the constant questioning of identity, the crushing feeling of being invisible even within your own community. Her words weren't rehearsed, they were raw, lived in, and painfully real. And they struck a chord with thousands, especially those in the bisexual community who have long felt pushed to the margins. But that was just the beginning. Hollyy has never treated her fame like a mirror, it's a megaphone. She's used her platform to amplify causes that matter: racial justice, reproductive rights, mental health, gender identity, trans rights, HIV awareness, and the protection of LGBTQ+ youth. Her social media isn't just about selfies and song promos. It's a battleground for empathy, education, and change. What makes her so magnetic isn't just her talent, it's her authenticity. Hollyy doesn't hide her battles with identity, illness, or the weight of fame. She meets them head-on, in full view of the world. And in doing so, she gives her audience something more than music. She gives them permission to be themselves. For older generations who've witnessed cultural shifts over the decades, Hollyy represents something bold and new. An artist who doesn't just sing about truth, she lives it. In every lyric, every post, and every stand she takes, Hollyy reminds us that there's nothing braver or more beautiful than being unapologetically real. Jonathan Knight wasn't just a pop star, he was a heartbeat of a generation. As one of the 5 fresh-faced members of New Kids on the Block, he helped define the sound and spirit of late 80s and early 90s teen culture. With chart toppers like Step by Step and Hanjin, Tough, Jonathan quickly became a global heartthrob. His clean-cut charm, gentle voice, and quiet, boy-next-door persona captured the devotion of millions. But behind the flashing lights and screaming fans, Jonathan was carrying a truth that didn't fit the glossy pages of teen magazines. For years, whispers followed him, rumors about his sexuality that he neither confirmed nor denied. He kept his personal life private, even as the world kept asking questions. Then in 2009, everything changed. A former partner publicly outed him, setting off a media firestorm. But instead of hiding, Jonathan did something remarkable. With grace and quiet courage, he took to Twitter and simply said, yes, he was gay, and no, it was never a secret to the people who truly knew him. It was a soft-spoken revelation that spoke volumes. No grand statement, no scandal, just truth. From that moment on, Jonathan began to embrace his authentic self more openly. Alongside his longtime partner, Harley Rodriguez, he showed the world what real love looks like: steady, genuine, and deeply rooted in mutual respect. In 2022, he confirmed what many fans had hoped. The couple had privately tied the knot, sealing a love story that had quietly flourished away from the spotlight. But Jonathan's story didn't end with the stage. He reinvented himself as the host of Farmhouse Fixer on HGTV, trading stadiums for century-old homes in need of care. With a hammer in one hand and heart in the other, he brought his passion for restoration to life, restoring not just houses, but dreams. Fans who once screamed his name in arenas now watch him build something just as powerful: a life of peace, purpose, and authenticity. Jonathan Knight's journey, from closeted teen idol to openly gay, happily married man, reminds us that the greatest success isn't found in fame, but in living truthfully. For those who grew up with his music, his evolution is more than inspiring. It's a quiet revolution. Proof that it's never too late to be who you really are. And in doing so, Jonathan has found something even more lasting than a chart hit: joy. Wentworth Miller, forever etched in our minds as the brilliant and brooding Michael Scofield from Prison Break, didn't just play a genius on screen, he was a revelation. With a quiet intensity, a razor-sharp intellect, and a gaze that could freeze time, Miller quickly became a household name. But behind that calm confidence and magnetic screen presence was a man wrestling with a truth the world hadn't yet seen. In 2013, everything changed. In a powerful and deeply personal letter, Miller publicly came out as gay, not on a talk show, not in a magazine exclusive, but in response to an invitation to a Russian film festival. He declined the offer, citing his refusal to support a country that enforces anti-LGBTQ+ laws. It wasn't just a coming out. It was a stand, a statement, a moment of profound courage that turned personal pain into public purpose. For fans who had followed him for years, this revelation felt seismic. It wasn't about headlines, it was about humanity. Miller's words gave voice to countless others who had felt invisible for far too long. But he didn't stop there. In the years that followed, Miller opened up about his long, silent struggle with depression. He spoke candidly about suicide attempts, not for sympathy, but to break the stigma surrounding mental health. His message was simple yet powerful: you are not alone. And in that honesty, he became more than an actor. He became a lifeline. What sets Miller apart is his refusal to chase the spotlight while using it so powerfully. He's spoken at conferences, partnered with advocacy groups, and continually uplifted those living in the shadows, whether it's LGBTQ+ youth, people of color, or anyone battling inner demons. His approach isn't loud, but it's unshakably real. Today, Wentworth Miller stands as more than a star of the small screen. He's a voice of empathy, resilience, and raw, unfiltered truth. For those who admire quiet strength and moral clarity, his journey is more than inspiring, it's a testament. Because true bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to live authentically in spite of it. Matt Bulmer isn't just a gifted actor, he's a rare blend of elegance, vulnerability, and emotional truth. From the slick charm of White Collar to the raw intensity of The Normal Heart and the bold charisma of Magic Mike XXL, Bulmer has proven time and again that his range is as vast as it is captivating. His portrayal in The Normal Heart didn't just earn him a Golden Globe and an Emmy nomination, it cemented his place as one of the most deeply respected actors of his generation. But it wasn't just his performances that moved people. In 2012, during a quiet moment of gratitude at a humanitarian awards ceremony, Bulmer publicly came out, thanking his husband, publicist Simon Halls, and their 3 sons. It wasn't a media spectacle. It was honest, heartfelt, and deeply human. In an industry where many still felt forced to hide who they were, Bulmer's simple words carried the weight of courage and authenticity. It was a moment that resonated far beyond Hollywood. Since then, Bulmer has become more than a star, he's become a voice. A voice for LGBTQ+ youth, for mental health awareness, and for equality. Whether he's speaking out against discrimination, supporting nonprofits, or attending fundraisers, he uses his platform to build bridges, quietly, powerfully, and with unwavering grace. What truly sets Matt Bulmer apart isn't just his talent. It's his integrity. He's shown that you don't need to compromise who you are to succeed. In fact, embracing your truth can be the most powerful thing of all. For countless people, especially those in the LGBTQ+ community, Bulmer is more than an actor. He's a symbol of progress, of quiet resilience, and of the beauty found in living openly. Today, Matt Bulmer continues to shine, not just on screen, but in the hearts of those he's inspired. His journey reminds us that living authentically isn't just brave, it's transformative. Sasha Lane didn't enter Hollywood through the usual doors, she kicked them open. Discovered on a spring break beach with no acting experience, she was cast as the lead in American Honey and delivered a performance so raw, so disarmingly real, it left critics stunned. Her portrayal of a drifting teenager wasn't just acting, it was lived-in emotion, captured on film. But Sasha Lane is more than just a breakout star. She's a voice of a generation that's done explaining itself. In 2015, she came out as bisexual, but even that label, she admits, feels limiting. In a strikingly honest interview, she said, "If my heart wants, my heart wants. I love who I love, I like who I like, and that's my business." Those words weren't just personal, they were powerful. They signaled a shift. One where identity isn't about boxes, but about truth. And Lane lives her truth, even when it's hard. She's been candid about her mental health battles, talking openly about therapy, trauma, and the hard work of healing. In a world obsessed with curated perfection, Sasha offers something braver: vulnerability. And in doing so, she gives countless others permission to feel, to speak, and to seek help. Her film choices reflect that same authenticity. From the miseducation of Cameron Post to Utopia and Hellboy, Lane gravitates toward roles that echo real struggles. Characters scarred, searching, and resilient. She's not here to play it safe. She's here to tell the truth, no matter how messy or uncomfortable. Sasha Lane is, in every sense, a quiet revolutionary. She rejects Hollywood's polished molds in favor of something more honest, more human. Through her work and her words, she reminds us that strength isn't about armor, it's about showing up as yourself, flaws and all. And maybe that's her greatest gift, reminding us that there's power in being real. George Michael wasn't just a pop star, he was a force of nature, a voice that echoed through decades with haunting beauty and raw honesty. With unforgettable hits like Careless Whisper, Faith, and Last Christmas, he defined an era and left an indelible mark on the soundtrack of the 20th century. First rising to fame as one half of the chart-topping duo Wham, then soaring as a solo sensation, George's rich vocals and magnetic presence captivated millions. But behind the flashing lights and platinum albums was a man on a deeply personal journey, one of self-discovery, courage, and quiet resilience. In 1998, after years of whispers and relentless media speculation, George Michael publicly came out as gay following a highly publicized incident. But rather than shrink beneath the weight of scandal, he stood tall. With remarkable grace and honesty, he took control of his own narrative, transforming shame into strength and choosing truth over image. That moment became a turning point, not just in his life, but in the way the world saw LGBTQ+ visibility in entertainment. He didn't just come out. He came through, redefining himself not as a controversy, but as a champion of authenticity. And he didn't stop there. George Michael used his fame as a force for good, becoming an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and a quiet yet powerful philanthropist. Behind the scenes, he donated millions, often anonymously, to causes close to his heart, from HIV/AIDS research to children's hospitals and support programs for marginalized communities. He performed at charity events, helped fans in crisis, and gave without ever asking for applause. His generosity was boundless, his compassion real. As the years went on, George continued to create music that reflected a deep emotional evolution. His lyrics became more introspective, his sound more refined, but he never lost his connection to the people. Even as he battled personal demons, legal troubles, and health challenges, he remained a symbol of vulnerability, strength, and grace under fire. When George Michael passed away suddenly in 2016 at the age of 53, the world lost more than a pop icon. It lost a truth-teller, a healer, a soul who dared to be seen for who he really was. His music still fills living rooms, his voice still stirs emotions, and his legacy lives on in every heart that's ever struggled to be accepted. George Michael wasn't just a superstar. He was proof that when you live with authenticity, compassion, and courage, you create a legacy that sings long after the spotlight fades. Charlie Carver first won hearts with his roles in hit shows like Desperate Housewives, Teen Wolf, and The Boys in the Band, where his boy-next-door charm and soulful performances made him a standout. But behind the bright lights and scripted lines was a deeper story, one that revealed a kind of bravery not found on any stage or screen. In 2016, Carver shared that story with the world. In a series of raw, heartfelt Instagram posts, he came out as gay, lifting the curtain on years of silence, inner conflict, and the pressure to conform. "Let the record show this. I am proud to be gay," he wrote. It wasn't just a declaration, it was a reckoning. A moment of truth that rippled far beyond Hollywood. His coming out wasn't for headlines. It was for healing, for visibility, for every young person who had ever felt the weight of hiding. Since then, Carver has used his platform not just to act, but to amplify. He's become a fierce advocate for LGBTQ+ representation, demanding that queer characters be written with depth, complexity, and humanity. Whether it's his work in Ryan Murphy's Ratched, or the all-out gay cast of The Boys in the Band revival, Carver has consistently chosen projects that reflect authenticity, not just as a performer, but as a person. And in 2020, his impact was formally recognized with the GLSEN Game Changer Award, honoring his commitment to creating safer, more inclusive spaces for LGBTQ+ youth. During his acceptance speech, he recalled a single, compassionate gesture from a mentor that gave him the courage to live truthfully, a reminder that small acts of kindness can change lives. Charlie Carver's journey, from rising television star to unapologetic advocate, isn't just inspiring. It's a testament to the power of authenticity. In a world that still asks people to dim their light, his voice stands tall, a beacon of progress, reminding us all that when courage meets compassion, real transformation begins. Colton Haynes, known to millions for his unforgettable roles in Teen Wolf and Arrow, first captured hearts with his chiseled looks, effortless screen charm, and undeniable star quality. But behind that polished Hollywood image was a young man quietly crumbling under the weight of perfection, pressured not just by the industry, but by a society that demanded silence about who he truly was. For years, Colton lived a double life. Beneath the red carpets and magazine covers was a man terrified that embracing his identity as a gay man would destroy everything he'd worked for. He smiled for the cameras, but behind the scenes, the mask was slipping, leading to crippling anxiety, deep depression, and hospital stays that no one saw coming. Then, in 2016, he did something remarkable. He stopped hiding. Coming out wasn't just a headline, it was a lifeline. Colton Haynes reclaimed his truth, not just as a celebrity, but as a human being aching for freedom. And in doing so, he became a beacon for others, especially those lost in the shadows of fear, silence, and shame. Since then, Colton has become a fierce advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and mental health awareness. He's spoken with raw honesty about the struggles that fame couldn't fix, substance abuse, self-doubt, and the long road to healing. But through it all, he's chosen courage over comfort. Today, Colton uses his platform not just to entertain, but to empower. He champions causes that uplift LGBTQ+ youth, support suicide prevention, and challenge the stigma around mental health. His voice, once silenced by fear, now echoes with purpose, and his journey reminds us all that the bravest thing we can do is simply be ourselves. Colton Haynes is no longer just a star on screen. He's a symbol of strength, vulnerability, and truth. His story is a powerful reminder: authenticity isn't weakness, it's liberation. And sometimes, the most heroic thing we can do is stand in the light and let the world see who we really are. Dream Doll, born Tabitha Robinson, first burst onto the scene as the bold, no-nonsense firecracker on Bad Girls Club, quickly becoming a fan favorite thanks to her unapologetic attitude and magnetic presence. But what could have been a fleeting moment in reality TV fame became just the beginning. Refusing to be boxed in by the stereotypes of the genre, Dream Doll pulled off one of the most powerful rebrands in recent memory, transforming herself into a force in the rap game. With hits like Ah 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 and high-profile collaborations, she's proved she's not just here for the cameras, she's here for the culture. Her fierce lyrics, fashion-forward style, and fearless honesty have earned her respect, not just as an entertainer, but as an artist with a voice that demands to be heard. Then came June 2023. In the middle of Pride Month, Dream Doll took a deeply personal step, publicly coming out as bisexual. Her Instagram post read like a declaration of liberation: "Happy Pride Month. I'm proud to announce that I'm bisexual." It wasn't just a caption, it was a moment. The outpouring of love from fans and fellow artists was immediate and overwhelming. In a heartfelt follow-up tweet, she shared how supported and uplifted she felt, saying, "The love I've received has made me feel truly seen." But this wasn't just about identity. It was about breaking barriers in hip-hop, a genre where conversations around queerness have often been silenced. Dream Doll stepped into that space with courage, using her platform not just to entertain, but to empower. She's now emerging as a bold voice for LGBTQ+ visibility in music, challenging outdated norms and proving that authenticity and artistry are not mutually exclusive. Her evolution, from reality star to respected rapper and now advocate, is a powerful reminder that growth is possible, reinvention is real, and that living your truth can spark a movement. For older generations who've watched cultural tides shift over the decades, Dream Doll's story is more than inspiring. It's proof that we're entering an era where being yourself isn't just allowed, it's celebrated. Marlon Brando wasn't just one of the greatest actors of the 20th century, he was a force of nature who forever changed the language of cinema. With raw intensity, aching vulnerability, and a screen presence that could silence a room, Brando didn't act, he embodied. From the stormy, sensual Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire to the haunting calm of Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather, Brando didn't just play roles, he redefined what it meant to be an actor. He dragged American cinema out of its polished performances and into something real, something messy, something deeply human. But Marlon Brando wasn't just revolutionary on screen. Off-screen, he was just as fearless. He spoke out, loudly, on civil rights, on Native American justice, on causes that Hollywood kept at arm's length. And then, in a 1976 interview with France's Oui magazine, he said something that sent shockwaves across the globe. With no hesitation, Brando admitted, "Like a lot of men, I too have had homosexual experiences, and I am not ashamed." At a time when such confessions could destroy careers, Brando didn't flinch. He didn't hide. He simply spoke his truth. Because Marlon Brando refused to be boxed in by Hollywood, by society, or by the expectations of masculinity. He lived on his own terms, driven by emotional honesty, not public approval. While fiercely private in many ways, his rare moments of openness pierced through the cultural silence of the time. In just a few words, Brando challenged the world's narrow definitions of manhood, of fame, of love itself. And in doing so, he gave permission, without ever saying it, for others to do the same. His legacy isn't just one of iconic performances, it's one of quiet rebellion and radical authenticity. Brando showed us that true greatness doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from being unapologetically, uncompromisingly yourself. Thank you for watching Exposed Hollywood. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold truths from behind the silver screen. We'll see you in the next one.